Have you ever wondered why some highly intelligent people spend their lives struggling with money while others with ordinary abilities seem to build lasting wealth? At first glance, it feels unfair. You meet people with advanced degrees, remarkable knowledge, and impressive communication skills, yet they are trapped from one paycheck to the next. Then you meet someone who never claimed to be exceptionally smart, but they create opportunities, start businesses, make wise investments, and slowly build financial independence. The real difference is rarely intelligence itself. It comes down to how they think, the choices they make, and the habits they repeat every single day. Knowledge has tremendous value, but only when it is put into practice. Imagine owning a house filled with the greatest books ever written. Every solution, every lesson, every answer you could ever need is sitting on the shelves. But if those books remain closed forever, nothing in your life changes. Simply possessing knowledge does not transform your future. Knowledge becomes powerful only when it is applied. The same principle applies to intelligence. Many intelligent people unknowingly fall into a dangerous pattern. They mistake understanding for progress. They spend years reading, researching, analyzing, and preparing. They want every detail to be perfect before they begin. Meanwhile, someone with far less knowledge decides to take the first step. They make mistakes, learn valuable lessons, improve with every attempt, and continue moving forward. Those small, consistent actions build momentum over time. Years later, the person who acted has achieved far more than the person who only kept planning. Knowledge only creates results when it leads to action. Without action, even the greatest intelligence remains unused potential. Another challenge highly intelligent people often face is the fear of making mistakes. The more they know, the more possibilities they can imagine going wrong. Their ability to predict problems becomes so strong that every opportunity appears filled with risks. Gradually, caution begins to feel like wisdom. They hesitate, delay important decisions, and convince themselves they are simply waiting for the perfect moment. But perfection almost never arrives. Every successful entrepreneur, investor, and creator started long before they had complete certainty. None of them knew exactly how everything would unfold. Progress belongs to people who are willing to move forward while still learning along the way. Think about a young child learning to walk. They fall repeatedly, yet nobody considers them a failure. Everyone understands that falling is simply part of the learning process. Somehow, as adults, we forget this simple truth. One mistake suddenly feels like proof that we are not capable. One setback becomes a reason to quit. But every worthwhile achievement requires being willing to look inexperienced at the beginning. When fear of failure takes control, it quietly becomes fear of growth itself. One of the biggest hidden obstacles is overthinking. It often disguises itself as being productive. Your mind stays busy. You continue researching, comparing options, calculating risks, and imagining every possible outcome. Days turn into weeks and weeks become months. Yet nothing in your life actually changes because no decision has been made. Careful thinking has value, but thinking that never leads to action becomes nothing more than delay. Take a moment and ask yourself honestly, how many opportunities have slipped away because you wanted every answer before getting started? How many dreams are still waiting because you never felt completely ready? Sometimes the greatest danger is not choosing the wrong path. The greatest danger is refusing to choose any path at all. Life rewards movement. A person heading in the wrong direction can adjust and improve. Someone standing still has nowhere to go. Every decision teaches something. Every action provides valuable feedback. Real experience will always teach lessons that endless thinking never can. There is another reason many people never experience lasting financial success. They spend years improving their knowledge while completely ignoring their mindset. They understand how investing works. They study successful people. They learn business strategies and financial principles. Yet deep inside, they still believe wealth is meant for other people, not for them. Those hidden beliefs quietly shape their behavior. When new opportunities appear, they hesitate. As success begins to grow, they question whether they truly deserve it. When money comes into their lives, they unknowingly make choices that return them to familiar financial situations. Human beings naturally protect the identity they believe is true about themselves. If someone constantly tells themselves, "I'm just an average person, I've never been good with money," or "people like me don't become wealthy," those thoughts begin influencing hundreds of everyday decisions. The effect is rarely dramatic. It shows up in the opportunities they ignore, the conversations they avoid, the risks they refuse to take, and the investments they endlessly postpone. These small, invisible choices accumulate over time until they produce very visible results. Money often follows identity just as much as it follows information. That is why real financial transformation begins by changing the way you see yourself before changing the size of your bank account. Imagine two people earning exactly the same income. One spends nearly everything as soon as they receive it. The other consistently saves a portion, continues learning, and invests with patience. Although they start with identical earnings, their futures gradually move in completely different directions. The difference is not luck, it is the daily decisions each person makes, driven by the beliefs they hold about themselves and the future they believe they are capable of creating. Income was never the biggest factor. The real difference came from daily habits. Financial freedom is usually created through small decisions that seem unimportant at the time. Choosing to make one smart purchase, resisting one unnecessary expense, learning one useful skill, making one thoughtful investment, or spending an extra hour improving yourself instead of giving in to distractions may not feel life-changing today, but over time, those small choices begin to multiply. The difficult part is that compounded growth is almost invisible at first. Most people expect success to happen through dramatic breakthroughs, yet real wealth usually develops quietly. Think of a tree. For years, it appears to grow very little above the ground, but beneath the surface, its roots are becoming stronger every day. Eventually, people admire its size without realizing how much time was spent building the foundation. Financial success works in much the same way. People notice the results, but they rarely see the years of patience, discipline, and preparation that made those results possible. Another belief keeps many intelligent people from moving forward financially. They assume that working hard automatically guarantees success. Hard work is important, but effort without direction often produces exhaustion instead of freedom. Picture yourself climbing a ladder with incredible speed. You push yourself until you finally reach the top, only to discover the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall all along. Being busy is not the same as making progress. Working harder while following the same patterns simply allows you to repeat the same outcomes faster. That is why learning remains essential, not to gather endless information, but to develop better judgment, stronger habits, and wiser decisions. Real learning changes behavior. It helps you notice opportunities that other people overlook. Every new ability you develop increases the value you bring to the world, whether it is communication, leadership, problem solving, financial knowledge, or negotiation. These skills continue paying dividends long after you have learned them. Income often rises in proportion to the value you create. The more meaningful problems you can solve, the more opportunities naturally begin to appear. Ask yourself a simple but powerful question. What problem can I become exceptionally good at solving? The answer to that question may have a greater impact on your future than earning another certificate or collecting another qualification. The world rewards people who create value, not those who simply accumulate information. This highlights the true difference between information and wisdom. Information expands your understanding of what is possible. Wisdom inspires action. One fills your mind with ideas. The other changes the direction of your life. Every day quietly asks you to make a choice. Will you continue collecting ideas, or will you begin building something with them? The journey between where you are now and where you want to be is rarely crossed in one giant leap. It is traveled through one decision after another, one courageous conversation, one meaningful action, and one disciplined habit repeated until it becomes part of your identity. That is where genuine financial transformation begins. The greatest financial breakthrough rarely starts with a bigger paycheck. It begins with a broader perspective. Many people spend years searching for the perfect opportunity while failing to recognize the opportunities already in front of them. They believe success exists somewhere else, waiting for the perfect economy, the perfect connection, or the perfect moment to arrive. In reality, opportunities often wear ordinary clothes. They appear as problems waiting to be solved, skills waiting to be developed, conversations waiting to happen, or ideas waiting for someone with enough courage to bring them to life. The people who remain financially stuck are often looking for something new, while those who move ahead simply make better use of what they already have. Imagine standing in an open field holding a handful of seeds. One person complains that the number of seeds is too small to make a difference. The other immediately begins planting them. Months later, the first person is still holding seeds. The second person is enjoying a harvest. Knowledge behaves the same way. Ideas are like seeds. If they stay locked inside your mind, they never produce anything. They only become valuable when they are planted through consistent action. Too many intelligent people become collectors of possibilities. They read another book, watch another video, enroll in another course, and wait for another sign before they begin. Meanwhile, someone else applies just one lesson consistently, and over time the gap between them becomes impossible to ignore. Learning is incredibly important, but every lesson should lead to action. Every action should become a habit, and every habit should slowly shape your character. Character is what creates consistency, and consistency is what produces extraordinary results. There is another quiet reason many capable people never experience significant financial growth. They become attached to comfort. Comfort feels safe because it asks very little from you. It allows you to stay in familiar surroundings where nothing challenges you. The problem is that comfort comes with a hidden price. It slowly convinces you that there will be periods in your life when it feels as though nothing is happening. You will spend time improving your skills without receiving immediate recognition. You will invest in your growth long before anyone else notices your potential. Those seasons are not empty or meaningless. They are shaping you into the person who can handle greater opportunities when they arrive. Imagine an archer drawing back a bow. For a brief moment, the arrow moves in the opposite direction of its target. It looks like it is going backward. Yet that backward motion creates the power needed to send it flying forward. Life often works the same way. There are moments when progress feels delayed and success seems far away. What appears to be a setback may actually be preparation for something much greater. Preparation is one of the most valuable investments you can make. Every book whose lessons you genuinely practice, every conversation that broadens your perspective, every challenge that teaches patience, and every failure that sharpens your judgment quietly strengthens your future. Most people only notice the final success. Very few ever see the years of preparation that made it possible. Just as the strongest buildings rely on foundations hidden beneath the ground, lasting financial success depends on work that few people ever witness. Never rush the process of building your foundation. Wealth supported by wisdom has far greater stability than wealth built only through luck. Luck may open a door for you, but wisdom is what allows you to stay there and continue growing. Another lesson that deserves your attention is the influence of your surroundings. The people you spend your time with gradually shape the way you think. If you constantly surround yourself with individuals who complain, negativity begins to feel normal. If you spend time with people who believe growth is possible, your own expectations begin to expand. The conversations you have every day quietly influence the standards you accept for your own life. Choose your environment carefully. Spend time with people who challenge your thinking instead of limiting it. Read books that stretch your perspective. Listen to voices that encourage responsibility, discipline, and growth rather than excuses and blame. Every conversation, every idea, and every influence plants something in your mind. Make sure you are planting the kind of seeds you hope to harvest in the future. The future belongs to those who never stop learning. Not because learning alone guarantees success, but because continuous learning keeps your thinking flexible. The world constantly changes. Technology evolves. Industries transform. New opportunities appear while old ones disappear. Those who remain adaptable continue finding new paths forward, while those who refuse to change often remain trapped by yesterday's thinking. Adaptability is a hidden form of strength. It allows you to grow with change instead of resisting it. Some people spend years wishing life would become easier. Others spend those same years becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. Eventually, the stronger person realizes that many of the obstacles which once seemed overwhelming no longer hold the same power. The obstacles did not become smaller. They simply became more prepared to overcome them. Perhaps this is the greatest lesson about wealth and success. Your income can increase, your knowledge can expand, your opportunities can multiply. But none of those changes matter unless you are growing as a person. Every investment you make in your character eventually shapes the financial decisions you make. Discipline protects what you earn. Patience allows it to grow. Wisdom helps you use it wisely. Integrity ensures it lasts. None of these qualities can be purchased. They are developed quietly through daily choices, repeated habits, and lessons consistently applied over time. Real transformation happens one decision at a time. One habit strengthened today becomes easier tomorrow. One courageous action repeated often enough eventually becomes part of your identity. That is how lasting success is built. The wealthiest people are not always the most intelligent. More often, they are the ones who never stop learning, improving, adapting, and taking meaningful action. Intelligence can show you where the road begins, but only consistent effort will carry you to the destination. Success reveals a truth that many people overlook. It does not belong exclusively to the loudest person in the room. It is not reserved for the individual with the highest IQ. It does not even always belong to the person who starts first. More often, success belongs to the person who simply refuses to give up. That realization changes everything. If persistence can outperform natural talent, then your future is not limited by the intelligence you were born with. It is shaped by the decisions you continue making every single day. Many people confuse gaining information with creating real change. They believe that learning more will automatically improve their lives. But knowledge alone has never transformed anyone. Transformation happens only when knowledge is put into practice. The cookbook cannot satisfy hunger unless someone prepares the meal. A map cannot take you to your destination unless you begin walking. In exactly the same way, knowledge cannot create success until it becomes consistent action. That is why two people can read the very same book and end up living completely different lives. One closes the book and returns to old routines. The other applies just one valuable lesson immediately. A few months later, their lives have moved in completely different directions. The difference was never intelligence. The difference was action. There is one more obstacle that quietly steals opportunities from countless capable people: the fear of criticism. Many intelligent individuals hesitate because they worry about the opinions of others. They ask themselves, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if it doesn't work? Those questions slowly become invisible chains that hold them in place. Yet every great achievement in history was doubted by someone. Every innovation was once considered unrealistic. Every successful entrepreneur faced skepticism. Every creator received criticism before receiving praise. If you allow people who are not living your dream to decide what you should do, you are handing control of your future to their fears instead of your own potential. Real freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for permission to improve your life. Not everyone will understand your vision, and they don't need to. It is not their responsibility to believe in what is possible for you. That responsibility belongs entirely to you. There is incredible strength in becoming comfortable with being misunderstood for a while. Growth often looks unusual before it looks successful. When you begin changing your habits, some people will question your decisions. When you invest your time, money, and energy into improving yourself, others may say it is unnecessary. When you stop settling for average results, people may tell you that you have changed. Smile when they do, because you have. That is exactly what growth is supposed to look like. Never apologize for becoming someone your past version would hardly recognize. Every new stage of life asks you to leave something behind. Sometimes it is unhealthy habits, sometimes it is limiting beliefs, excuses, fears, or even environments that no longer help you grow. Growth always requires room to expand. You cannot hold new opportunities if your hands remain full of things that no longer serve you. Imagine carrying a suitcase packed with heavy stones. Each stone represents an old belief that holds you back. A fear of failure, a painful regret, or a story you've repeated to yourself for years. The longer you carry that weight, the harder every step becomes. Then one day you realize something powerful. The weight was never forced upon you forever. Continuing to carry it was a choice. And just as you chose to carry it, you can also choose to put it down. You have the ability to stop allowing yesterday's disappointments to write tomorrow's story. True financial freedom begins with personal freedom. It begins when you give yourself permission to think differently, act differently, and break away from patterns that have never produced the life you truly want. Remember that money does not change character as much as it reveals it. If you are generous before becoming wealthy, generosity is likely to remain part of who you are after success arrives. If you develop discipline before reaching your goals, that same discipline will help you protect and grow what you achieve. If you commit yourself to learning before opportunities appear, you will recognize possibilities that others completely miss. Success becomes much easier to handle when your character develops before your circumstances improve. That is why personal growth is one of the greatest investments you can ever make. Skills open doors. Character keeps those doors open. Wisdom helps you create even greater opportunities once you walk through them. Every hour you spend becoming a better thinker, improving your judgment, or strengthening your mindset continues paying rewards long into the future. No one can take away knowledge that has truly become part of you. Economic changes cannot erase your discipline. Temporary setbacks cannot remove the experience you have earned. These become lifelong assets that stay with you wherever you go. Those lasting assets create something even more valuable: genuine confidence. Real confidence is built on evidence, not emotion. Confidence based only on feelings disappears when life becomes difficult. Confidence built through experience grows stronger because it remembers every obstacle you have already overcome and every challenge you survived. Ask yourself an honest question. If nothing around you changed tomorrow, your job, your income, your circumstances, what inner quality would make the biggest difference in your future? Would it be stronger discipline, greater courage, sharper focus, more patience, better priorities? Your answer points directly toward the area where your greatest growth is waiting. Too many people search for external solutions to problems that begin within themselves. They hope another opportunity will solve a lack of discipline. They believe a higher income will fix poor financial habits. They wait for another year, another chance, or another circumstance to create changes that only today's decisions can produce. Life rarely works that way. Your future is quietly shaped by whatever you repeatedly practice each day. Practice excellence in small things. Practice honesty, even when no one is watching. Practice taking responsibility instead of making excuses. Practice gratitude instead of constant dissatisfaction. Practice consistency, even when motivation disappears. Not because someone else expects it from you, but because every repeated action slowly becomes part of your identity. Your identity influences your decisions. Your decisions become your habits. Your habits eventually shape the direction of your entire life. One day people may look at your success and ask how you did it. They may assume you discovered a hidden formula, a secret strategy, or an extraordinary shortcut that nobody else knew. But you will know the real answer. There was never a shortcut. There was only the daily decision to become a little better than the day before. One more lesson learned, one more problem solved, one more valuable skill developed, one more promise kept to yourself, even when nobody else noticed. Those ordinary decisions, repeated consistently over time, quietly created an extraordinary future. Perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. The distance between where you are today and where you dream of being is almost never crossed in one dramatic leap. It is covered through thousands of small, faithful steps. Every step prepares you for the next one. Every decision strengthens your character. Every habit shapes the person you are becoming. Success is not something you accidentally discover. It is something you gradually grow into. One choice, one action, and one day at a time. One of the most important truths about wealth is that it has never been only about money. Money can make life more comfortable. It can give you freedom, options, and access to opportunities that once seemed out of reach. But it cannot build character for you. It cannot give you wisdom, purpose, or fulfillment. Those things must be developed from within. That is why real success should never be measured only by the number in your bank account. A far greater measure of success is the person you become while earning it. Never allow money to define who you are. Instead, see it as a tool, a resource that allows you to create, contribute, provide for others, continue growing, and leave a positive mark on the world. Wealth without purpose eventually loses its meaning. But when money is guided by a clear purpose, it becomes something much greater than personal gain. It becomes a way to improve lives, create opportunities for others, and leave behind a legacy that extends far beyond yourself. As you continue moving toward your goals, you will always hear voices explaining why your dreams cannot happen. Some people will blame the economy. Others will say the competition is too strong. Some will remind you of every mistake you've ever made. Others will question your vision simply because they gave up on their own. Learn to be selective about the opinions you accept. Not every voice deserves a place in your mind. Fear should never become the loudest voice guiding your decisions. Let purpose be louder. Purpose reminds you why you started when motivation begins to fade. Purpose gives you the strength to keep moving when progress feels invisible. Purpose helps you endure difficult seasons because it focuses on the person you are becoming rather than the temporary discomfort you are experiencing. Life has a unique way of testing your commitment before revealing new opportunities. There will be days when nobody notices your effort. Days when your progress feels invisible. Days when you wonder whether anything is changing at all. Ironically, those are often the moments that matter the most. Keep learning anyway. Keep saving anyway. Keep improving anyway. Keep building anyway. Keep showing up anyway. Many of life's greatest opportunities arrive disguised as ordinary moments. A simple conversation, a new skill you decide to learn, a relationship you almost overlooked, or a small decision that seems too insignificant to matter. History repeatedly shows that extraordinary lives are often changed by ordinary moments, recognized by people who were prepared enough to seize them.